Greetings, Stars fans. This is the Two Brothers Mic'd Up Show. If you didn't know, we sit down and play a game of NHL. We talk about the recent Dallas Stars game for you. We give our discussions, give our thoughts. We put them right here on the internet for everyone to see. As each video starts, we give predictions for the last video, so always stick around. Quinn, you gave predictions for a Dallas win of a score of 2-1 in overtime, though, or a Calgary win 4-0, and I gave a prediction of a Dallas score of 3-2 or a Calgary score of 3-1. Now, we both thought that if Dallas was going to win, it was going to be a tight game because the Dallas Stars have not beat the Calgary Flames yet this season. First game went, Stars were up, gave the game away. Second game, the Stars just kind of got blown out in that game. They just didn't really even show up. Now, if act like you hadn't watched this game and you see the Dallas Stars score 2-1, what feeling do you get out of that, seeing them play the Calgary Flames?
Oh, right off the bat, you automatically think good goaltending. You think hard-fought game, hard physical game. A lot of puck possession. Maybe not as many penalties or power plays for either team, because it's a low-scoring game. But then again, good goaltending can stop all that. So that'd probably be the feelings I get out of this.
Yeah, well, there were actually a lot of penalties in this game, but for me, 2-1 just says the Stars are not back into recent form. Or actually, they're still in recent form and have not returned to their former form. Now, I want to go through the past 10 games. I'm gonna say the Dallas Stars. Just the Dallas Stars score, and I'll read them off in order. It goes 5-2, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 1, 2. So, in those games, they only get to their average once, and they only go over their average once. So that tells you just how bad this slump has been, and how bad this slump has really affected the Dallas Stars in January. January is over, thank God. The Stars do pick up this win, but I honestly think that it's a win like Edmonton. Can the Stars really, truly grow from this one? Are there lessons to have been learned in this win? Because in that Edmonton win we saw, they didn't learn anything from that one. They went out to Colorado and didn't really show up for that game. I mean, they did show up on the... they had like 100 shot attempts, and they tried, but there's a difference between trying and actually executing, and the Stars let that game just get away from it. Poor defense, and we saw that leak into this game as well. But the Stars, I feel as if they did learn a little bit from the Colorado game. There were still those defensive woes and letdowns and breakdowns, but we saw Jamie have a better game. We saw him have a better physical game. Sagan kind of just was there. Patrick Sharp, I think, was still one of the best forwards out there. Him and Janmark continued to shine in this month of January, and I think it's a statement that the Stars are just ready for this month to be over, because I think Januaries are usually pretty bad for this game. But with the Stars, with those scores that I'm reading off, and I'm not making those numbers up, you can go and look them up. The Stars aren't getting lucky. They're not getting enough grit to their silk. They're all flash and no finish right now. The Stars are built for a high-octane offense, and that octane is on fumes right now. They're into the All-Star break, but again, we had a 5-day break earlier this month, and it did nothing for the Dallas Stars. What are you expecting from this break from the Dallas Stars?
Rest, relaxation. I expect to see Jamie and Tyler, play in their All-Star game. Kind of use that as like a practice to work on teamwork between those two. Work on producing between those two, because I'm sure they're going to be posted together. And I think this will be a good time for those two to kind of just reconnect, because it seems like they're kind of losing their bond a little bit, their dynamic duo, as you might say, because they're lacking in the producing department between the two of them. I mean, Jamie, he's producing, Tyler's producing, not as much as Jamie, but they're not producing together.
Yeah, no, and that's a good point. It seems that one's good at home and one is good on the road. One shows up, and then the other one kind of, in this month at least, the other one has kind of taken a back seat to the other one. The Stars roll out Niemi for the start of this game. How'd you like that?
I loved it. I've said probably for the last couple of games that I do believe Niemi is proving himself to be the number one starter. That I don't think the Stars should roll the 1A, 1B. I think it's legitimately present that, Niemi is the number one goalie. Now, like you say all the time, like Kari has his big contract, so you can't exactly talk about trading him. But, I mean, I think the time off is definitely good for him.
Yeah, I think that the coaching staff is now seeing that Niemi is the legitimate number one, because to give Niemi another start after the Colorado game, which, I mean, he only had like 15 shots against and gave up 3 goals, but I think that proves to the coaching staff, to the fans, that they want Niemi in net, and Kari is the backup. I don't think there's any more debate, because like you just said, I talk about Kari's contract, and you can't bench him, you can't trade him because of that contract. So minimizing his exposure out on the ice, I think, is the betterment for this team. I think Niemi's starts are so you can rely a little bit more on Niemi. I think the team serves better with Niemi. I think Kari's ups and downs are way too extreme. I think his ups are very good, but his downs, when he gets down, it's a free fall, and he doesn't seem to stop. And in that case, you want to have a little more of a consistent goaltender. So it was actually really refreshing to see Niemi get that start, because usually after a bad game they go right to the next goaltender. So that was good to see. Now, we actually had the privilege of going to the game, and the Stars are still undefeated with us at the game. I've been to at least 9-10 games this season. Not trying to brag. You've been to 4 or 6 games, and I think we're the lucky charm. I honestly think we are. But then this was, I want to talk about being at the game, because this was the first game that I've been to this season that I just felt no energy at all. The Stars, they came out and they played well in the first period. They had a score, or they had the shot difference of 10-3. So the Stars came out and they came out playing well, but even though they were kind of playing well, they weren't really showing us anything. The fans were not in the game from the beginning, and as the game went along, the first period, no one was really getting loud. You could hear conversations around you and everything like that. In the second period, when the Stars scored their 2 goals like in quick succession, energy started getting in. But then whenever the Stars they took those 4 penalties, they had 3 straight, and it really started to suck the crowd out. And I think the Stars started feeling that, and I think a lot of that negative energy from the Colorado game seeped into this one, because the Stars have been slumping hard this month, and I think the fans are showing that it's not that acceptable to the fans, because why cheer for a team that just seems like they aren't really showing up? They're not giving 110%. And it really felt in this game. And for the people that care about the woos and everything like that shit didn't even happen until 5 minutes left in the third period. So if I see people saying that they couldn't watch this game, or they were at the game and just couldn't stand it through because they were doing it through the whole game, no, they weren't. They're just trying to add fuel to the fire, and that just needs to be put out. It needs to be stopped talking about. Period. But yeah, it was just really weird, because the last game we went to, there was just energy like the whole game. Every game that I've been to, there's just been a good energy vibe throughout the whole crowd, throughout the whole game. Even in the games where we were losing, but then the Stars rally back, like in a lot of the overtime games, or if the team comes back, there was just a constant energy. This one, it felt like the energy was waning, and they didn't really want to give, because they haven't been really receiving on that end. Let's talk about the special teams. Now, Lindy Ruff in the Colorado game said that he was going to be shaking up maybe the first unit on the power play. We see the shakeup in them putting Goligoski and Klingberg out there, and then Eves is up there with Ben and Sagan. Now, did you think that was a big shakeup, or did you think that shakeup helped in any way or anything like that?
I mean, you could definitely tell a difference between the two lines now. You had Spezza and Sharp on one unit, then you had Ben and Sagan on the other. That's what I honestly think that they should do. I think that they're too front-loaded on the first power play as of the last couple of games. And I think that kind of hurts them, because we have all of our super skilled guys out there. They want to make the fancy play. They want to make the fancy shot. So they overthink it a little bit. Now, and then you see players like Roussel and Eve starting to get time on the power play. These are guys that are going to go to the front of the net and just sit there. So that gives the guys who have the good shots, oh, okay, I always know there's going to be somebody in front of the net, so I could just shoot it and try to get a deflection. Because, you see Jamie Benn, he goes to the front of the net, but a lot of times he veers off to the side so he can try to catch that pass and stuff it home. So I wouldn't say that he's a true net front body.
Yeah, you do see him peel off a lot towards the corner to try to manage the board play game of the power play. But was that a true big shakeup? No, but I honestly think with putting Goligoski and Klingberg out there, I honestly think that kind of demoted them to second unit, because first unit is usually the unit that goes out with the four forwards and the one defenseman, and I think that is what the shakeup really was. I don't think, maybe a lot of people didn't really notice it, but I think that might have been the shakeup to the power play, is putting the Janmark Hemsky line out there with the Spezza and Sharp back there. I honestly think that might have been the real big shakeup, is saying, you know what, Jamie Sagan, you're not getting us anything, so you're now the second unit. Because in the previous game, in the Colorado game, the second unit was the one that had the most chances and they scored. So, or maybe there's probably not truly a number one or a number two, it's just whoever line is up next. But I honestly think that might have been what the shakeup was. Shifting, well, and also it was good to see that our penalty kill was stellar tonight. Niemi was a big part of it. We had 5 penalties that we had to kill, and we killed all of them. So that was fantastic to see. But shifting over, let's talk about defense, and then let's give a review on Lindell. He's had 4 games up with the big club. I know this is your forte and where you like to talk. What's your review?
I read an article on the subreddit for the Dallas Stars, and it was talking about how Lindell is a good look at the prospect pool. Now, I kind of disagree with that, because when you really look at Lindell over these past 4 games, he only really had one good game. His first game, he was barely noticed. You know, he had like something around like 12 minutes of ice time.
If that.
And that's not going to get you anywhere on the ice at that time. The second game, he played really great. You know, he was out there, he was making good plays, heads up hockey. He was playing physical. And then the next 2 games, you see him kind of just... It kind of feels like with the teams that they play with Colorado and Calgary, that those teams were just too fast for him. You know, you see him trying to make plays. You know, he's fumbling around a little bit, and he starts to panic. You get that Dallas defenseman panic. Yeah. You know, and then you see Yerke over there, noticing that he's panicking. Now he's panicking because now does he jump in to help him out? You know, those are those things that defensemen think about together whenever they're being paired together. Like, if this one falters, like, do I go help him or do I stay in my position?
Yeah, no. People listening to that are probably going to say, well, he only has 4 games. And it's like, well, yeah, we understand that. And this is just the review that we're looking at so far. Now, we're not saying that he's a complete bust or he's the next Nick Lidstrom. This is just what the serving size we have, and this is what we're going to grade him on. I, like you, think was average. I mean, and I'll give a perfect example. The Colburn goal for Calgary in the 3rd period. Now, it gets set up by Gaudreau coming into the zone, and he's one-on-one with Lindell. Gaudreau makes a move and stops, puts on the brakes, and Lindell just doesn't react to it the way you would want a NHL defenseman to react to it. Lindell doesn't apply his brakes fast enough, and Gaudreau was able to, get that separation that he needs to get a decent scoring chance on Niemi. Now, Gaudreau kind of flutters the shot a little bit, so it doesn't turn into a grade A scoring chance, maybe grade B, I don't know. But then Niemi is forced to cover the puck, and then that sets up a face-off in the zone. Now, on the next play, Lindell is actually out there with Oduya. And Lindell takes a man towards the front of the net and cuts off of him. And then he tries to make a play on the Calgary player in the corner, and he just gets absolutely beat. He falls down. The Calgary player is able to skate right around him. Lindell has completely taken himself out of the play. Granted, Oduya didn't do any service by falling down in front of the net and then leaving Colburn all alone. But it was those little plays like that Lindell was getting beat a lot. He wasn't physical enough. So far, he was average. All he was a body to fill a roster slot. That's it. Now, I did read something interesting today as well. Is that there's a little rumor out there that's saying that Lindell was brought up to actually be scouted for other teams. Now, do we know this? I don't know. That's why it's a rumor. Now, a lot of people are saying that he was brought up so they can show him off because he might become a trade deadline deal. And you know what? As of right now, I would be perfectly fine with letting Lindell go. Because right now we're being fed that Honka is a great defenseman. We're saying, who's it? Steven Johns. We're saying he must be just a fantastic defenseman just from all the stuff that I hear about him. And there's a couple other ones that we have in our pipeline. And you know what? I would like to see Steven Johns up next month. That's who I want to see. I don't want to see... Because we were told that Steven Johns is the most NHL-ready defenseman. I honestly think that could be a really good rumor that says Lindell was brought up so he can be put into some kind of package to really bring someone in towards the trade deadline. I like that thought. What do you think about that?
That would be a great idea to do, to get that true top-line defenseman that this team desperately needs to be playoff contenders. Somebody like Burns, that name gets thrown around a lot, Dustin Byfuglien. Although I don't know if Byfuglien's going to be available because I did read that they're in contract disputes with Ladd, their captain, and they're also in contract negotiations with Byfuglien. And they said that they're more inclined to let Ladd go than they are with Byfuglien. So that would make things a little bit harder to get
Which
him.
I would do the same thing.
Yeah. I would keep Byfuglien 100% of the time. Now that also might be a window for the Stars to pick up Ladd. He is a good power forward. He has leadership abilities. He was on a Stanley Cup with the Chicago Blackhawks. So he has that cup contender.
Honestly, I'd probably like Ladd on our team. I think he'd be a good third liner. I think, or hell, you could put him up on the second with Spezza. I think that could round that line out with Nichushkin.
All right, there's a lot of different trades that we would love to see on this team, and I'm sure a lot of trades that y'all would love to see on this team.
Yeah, so coming up more towards the trade deadline, we might do a special video on that one. But let's go and let's talk about the offense. And we had a lot of shots. Again, we had 30 shots to Calgary's 24, but it was a 10-3 first period, a 13-12 second period, and a 7-9 third period. So the Stars dominated the first period with shot attempts, and then started to let Calgary get into it. But in the second period, Jamie Benn scores his 28th goal, his 21st on home ice. And I think that really says a lot to how the Stars are one of the best home teams, and why they are struggling out on the road now where they just can't win at all. it's because Jamie Benn is not showing up on the road. Jamie Benn likes playing at home. Tyler Seguin likes playing on the road. I think that's why we're getting that split, because Seguin is tied for the league lead on road goals, I believe. So we need to figure out a way to get Jamie scoring on the road as well. Don't take away his home goals, but let's get him scoring on the road as well. He does a great move, gets a pass from Nichushkin, dekes out the defender trying to do a shot block for some reason, I'm not too sure. Dekes out Ramo. And then like a minute 20 later, we get Spezza with a heads-up play from Klingberg. I mean, his one real good play that night. The beginning of the game, he gives up that little whiff on a shot and then gives up a breakaway. Niemi had to bail him out. I think it was another game where Goligoski and Klingberg struggled again. But it was nice to see Spezza go to the front of the net. He was all alone. He beat his man there. And for him to catch that pass and then put it in, I thought it was good to see. And then I felt like, okay, maybe the floodgates are going to start to open, but no, they didn't, because the penalties started rolling in. But our offense still looks stifled. They still look stagnant. I'm hoping to see more out of that. So it's All-Star week. What do you expect to see from Jamie and Seguin at the All-Star game?
More bromance. I think that's what they need. And what I mean by that is, I think that they need to take this All-Star weekend, work on producing with each other. Not that kind of way, in the hockey way. But I feel like this is the perfect chance for them, because I'm pretty sure Lindy's going to have them two paired together for the 3-on-3. They need to work on this time to work together on getting assists, getting goals, setting each other up, like playing hockey together.
Anything that you think that what skills or what competitions do you think Jamie and Seguin are going to be in?
Honestly, I think Sagan's going to be in the fastest skater competition. I mean, he was in it the last time he was in the All-Star game.
And got beat by Phil Kessel.
Yeah, barely.
Yeah.
Barely, but he got beat. And obviously Jamie's going to be in the accuracy contest since he won it his one time that he was there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sure those are going to be the two that they put up for there.
Do you see any other, maybe Seguin for hardest shot or something like that?
I think they're going to have
maybe Jamie on the relay, maybe puck handling or something like that.
I would say he's the better of the puck handlers out of the two. Tyler's the shot, Jamie's the setup guy, which is kind of like reversed this season a little bit.
Any predictions on the winner of the All-Star game? Do you think it's going to be the Central Division?
It's going to be the Central Division. Got to represent for the Stars.
I mean, I know a lot of people are probably like, oh, God, why are they talking All-Star game? I'm going to watch because Jamie and Seguin are in it.
And John Scott.
I
hope he wears a St. John's jersey.
No, he came out and said that he's not going to. So, I mean, I'm going to tune in for Ben, Seguin, and the controversy that is probably going to follow the game. So, the Stars play the Winnipeg Jets next game, I believe, after the All-Star break on the 2nd of February. Let's go to the ratings of this game first.
Well, I like the way that the Stars have played the Winnipeg Jets in the last two games they played them.
Against the Calgary Flames. Give the rating for the game that we just watched.
Oh my goodness. I would say probably a C+. Granted, people probably might not agree with me, but like these defensive problems, I hate to be the negative one, but these defensive problems aren't going away. And that's what's truly holding this team back. Like, they're not gonna keep winning games with the defense that they have.
Yeah.
They're gonna squeak by with their 2-1 wins on the back of their goalie and their somewhat offense that they're getting right now, but their defense is just going to kill them.
I also gave a rating of a C+ because I thought this game was just like the Edmonton game. It was a win nonetheless, and you'll take it, but I don't think they really build off this. I think this was a game that the Dallas Stars could have showed more, but fell into more of the same. So, going into the Winnipeg Jets game, what are your predictions for that one?
Well, I like how they played in the last 2 games, like I said before. I feel like Dallas will use this time to rest, relax, Hopefully Sagan and Jamie come back refreshed, a little bit more consistency between the production between those two. And I like a score of Dallas winning 4-2, and if Winnipeg comes on top, I think it's going to be 3-2.
Well, I do like how the Stars have played against the Winnipeg Jets as well. Looking at the Winnipeg Jets' last 5 games previously, it's 3 losses, 2 wins. Looking at Dallas's last 5, same thing. So Dallas Stars and Winnipeg Jets are still in the same realm right now, but I think Dallas is going to win it. I like a score of 4-1. And then I like a score of 2-0 for the Jets. So, that's our discussion. Be sure to subscribe, like the video down below, share if you'd like, leave any kind of feedback in the comment section. Remember, help us grow this into something that you would want to watch all the time. This is for fans, by fans, and as always, tune in next time.